What's going on, people, and welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a quick match reaction to the game that's just finished. Dundee 2, Celtic 0 in the Scottish Premiership. A very furious reaction. That was absolutely shocking. Absolutely terrible. Didn't watch the game, but I heard it on the radio, seen the highlights. What an absolute disaster. Absolute joke. I'm going to say it now. It's not just the board I'm going to have a go at in this video, but the players and the manager, sorry, they're just crap. You know, the league's over. Hearts are going to win the league. We're 5 points behind. We got them next Sunday. We're going to get beat. We're going to go 8 points behind. We're shocking. We're rubbish. We play the same way all the time, passing the ball backwards and sideways. Absolutely shocking. Dundee were excellent. Dundee, who lost to Aberdeen a few weeks ago, beat us today. Absolutely shocking. You know, Stephen Presley beat us today. It's nowhere near good enough. Rodgers needs to leave, in my opinion. The board, they can get themselves out. They're not escaped from criticism. They're an absolute joke. They're the people who have put us in this situation. Rodgers said we need the players to improve the squad, and we didn't invest. It's now affecting us domestically. If anybody says the fans were to blame, stay with their protests, it's not true. The players are an absolute joke. I'll go through all of them. Iheanacho, lazy, shocking attitude, didn't give a crap. You know, this is why I didn't want to sign him. Lazing about, rubbish. Absolutely rubbish, can't hold the ball up. Shocking performance from Iheanacho today. Hatate doesn't want to be here. Get rid of him in January. Lazy, looks disinterested. Awful. McGregor plays all the time, doesn't deserve to. Shocking performance today from McGregor. Slow, moves the ball sideways, hasn't got it anymore to be a starter. Horrendous. Yang starting over Balaguisha. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic from Rodgers. And then he brings Forrest on in the second half to save the game before Balaguisha. Pathetic. And yeah, Celtic are just pathetic. Liam Scales for the second goal against Congreve gets absolutely twisted inside out. Shocking. Scales, not good enough for Celtic. As I said, he may have had a good season so far, but today he was horrific. Carter Vickers doesn't want to be there. Shocking. Schmeichel just takes a piss every single time. Thinks he's better than what he actually is. You know, very arrogant. Kasper Schmeichel gets on my nerves. This Celtic team's attitude is shocking. The manager's attitude is terrible. The board's attitude is terrible. The only ones who really care are the fans. To be honest, we're going to lose the league. We're going to lose the league to Hearts. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. You know, I'm absolutely furious. I really am. I'm not surprised. I knew we were going to lose at some point. And today we lost to Dundee. Absolutely shocking. The game started. Dundee, from the highlights that I've seen and what I've heard, started way better than us. We were pissing about like we always do. You know, no impetus, no care in the world, really. Dundee, you know, Congreve apparently was excellent. From what I've seen, he roasted Kieran Tierney every single fucking time. You know, Tierney, who's played against some of the best players in world football in the Premier League, gets skinned by a Dundee winger who we've never heard of. Shocking. He's on loan from Swansea. Congreve, he was excellent in this game. Absolutely terrible. Shocking. It really was. Dundee got their goal. It was terrible. It really was awful. You know, Tierney, again, a mistake waiting to happen. Shouldn't have brought him back. Been horrendous. Absolutely terrible. You know, the fans protested against the board, rightfully so, because the board is the main problem here, along with the players and the manager. They're shocking, embarrassing, you know, absolutely terrible. Deserved to get beat today. Celtic, you know, attitude was all wrong. Shocking performances. Manager not changing it quickly enough, you know, didn't do anything correctly, you know, terrible in both halves as well. Didn't offer fuck all. You know, we don't create, we don't do anything. The only one I think actually done all right was Tanetki, but even then, you know, he sort of faded in the second half where he went off. Absolutely shocking. It really was. You know, the first goal from Dundee was a corner. Whipped in. Iheanacho, lazy. It's not marking the defender from the corner. It's a great header by the defender. You know, Kasper Schmeichel stranded. You know, he had no chance. One that was Dundee, deservedly so. You know, Celtic, Iheanacho hit the post from outside the box. That was the only thing he'd done in the whole bloody game, to be honest. Tierney had a great opportunity straight after Dundee had scored to equalise. Horrendous. All he needs to do is pass it to Iheanacho in the middle or shoot and actually get it on target. Dragged it wide. Horrendous from Tierney. Really was. Pathetic. To be honest, from Tierney, he was pathetic today. Everyone was pathetic. The manager was pathetic. The board are pathetic. You know, I'm turning on Rodgers now. I've had enough. You know, I've been supporting Brendan as much as I can. He's been getting away with it. You know, I've been criticising the board mostly. But, you know, Brendan has lost it completely. He doesn't have it anymore. He needs to go. I would let him go today, or he needs to resign today. And let's go and get Postecoglou back. You know, he's there. You know, he'll come in, hopefully, and he'll motivate the team, because the team need that ahead of Hearts next week, because this is just a joke. This is a disaster waiting to happen. 5 points behind in the league, going to Tynecastle next week. And again, we have to beat Hearts, but we're not going to. We're going to get absolutely murdered next week. Hearts are going to go 8 points clear and they'll win the title. I'm telling you now, because us and Rangers are shocking, to be honest. Maybe it's a good thing that we lose the league, but at the same time, the board caused this predominantly. But Dundee got their second goal. It was horrendous. You know, Tanetki, very poor in the challenge. You know, Dre Wright rubs it off him. Weak, Tanetki in the challenge. And then it's Congrave. Congrave does all the work. It's excellent from Congrave. Scales has to be pulled out from the centre-back position because Tierney's too far up the bloody pitch. Ridiculous. Really was. He was lucky not to be booked in the first half for a challenge on Congrave. Congrave roasted him. Every time he got the ball, Congrave, he was roasting Tierney every single time. Tierney was so good at 1v1s. First time he was at Celtic, you know, and at Arsenal he was good as well. Why is it that since he's come back, he can't compete 90 minutes, you know, mostly? Horrendous. Looks unfit, to be honest. But yeah, Congrave took advantage. Really good play, you know, skin Scales inside out. Really good ball across the box. And it was 2-0. 2-0 to Dundee, deservedly so. You know, Celtic deserve fuck all, to be honest. It's an own goal by Carter because he then started moaning at everybody else. But he was horrendous today. You know, him, Negron, Hatate, McGregor, everyone was moaning. You know, nobody motivated anybody. You know, what kind of attitude is that? You know, nobody motivates anyone in this team. They give up so easily. They're pathetic, as I said. And at half-time, it's 2-0 to Dundee. Second half, you know, Celtic changed it. You know, changed formation, did nothing, in my opinion. Johnny Kenny, not good enough. Came on, did bugger all. Ian Acho had a chance in the box, which he stepped on the ball, unfortunately. And the Dundee player got a block in. You know, McCracken made a really good save from Balaguisha. Balaguisha gave away a stupid free kick. Have no idea what he was doing. Again, very disappointed with Balaguisha when he came on. Didn't do enough for me. Forest, nothing. Nothing from Forest. Very poor. You know, shouldn't be coming on as a sub, in my opinion. It's horrendous. It really is. And yeah, Celtic, you know, Dundee as well, you know, had chances, you know, a set piece. Again, the defender who scored the first goal got his head to it, and so it cleared it away at the last minute. There was another chance where Dundee had the ball down the right-hand side, really good ball into the box, and the striker mistimed his run completely, and it went wide, you know, and Celtic got it clear. But in the end, Dundee won 2-0, you know, fans probably were booing after the game, shouting at the board probably, shouting at the manager, shouting at the players. Do you blame him? Going up to Dundee on a pissing cold day, you know, with behind Hearts in the league. You know, it's nowhere near good enough. You know, board not listening to the manager not getting on with the board because they don't match his ambition. You know, not even just for Europe, but domestically we're struggling. Where it's obvious we're struggling. We've not played well in any game this season, in my opinion. Maybe the Party Thistle game, but we're playing against a team, with all due respect, that's in a league lower than us. I don't think we're going to win next week, to be honest. I don't think we'll win any of our next 6 games. I think we'll lose all of them, and that's being honest. And that's including the Rangers semi-final as well. You know, they may be poor, but if they go and get Muscat, you know, I'm concerned, because Muscat has done really well in Japan. You know, he plays a really good style of play. You know, Postecoglou, yeah, he's not done well in his last 2 jobs. You know, people are going to say that he should have been given more time at Nottingham Forest, but I don't think he should have went there anyway, because Nottingham Forest's owner is not the best. You know, he's available if we did part ways with Brendan, you know, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Brendan will be here to the end of the season, and we're going to see how this goes, but I think we're going to lose the league. I didn't watch any of it. I didn't watch the game, but I listened to it on the radio and whilst I was doing other things, but, you know, not impressed whatsoever with that. You know, not surprised. You know, Dundee, fair play to them. Well done, Stephen Presley. Really good result, you know, after that really bad performance against Aberdeen after the international break. You know, Celtic are getting worse. They're not getting better. They're just horrific. You know, the board has completely screwed this club up completely. It's 10 in a row all over again. We're not going to win the league this season. We've lost the league, in my opinion, today. It'll be confirmed next week when Hearts beat us. I reckon Hearts are going to beat us 3 or 4-0 next week because we're not good enough. You know, players like Scales and Yang shouldn't be in the squad whatsoever, you know, but Rodgers has no choice. He has to play these guys. But then saying that, he should be motivating the players, you know, he has to take responsibility for that. But yeah, I've got nothing really else to say. You know, I'm so pissed off with Celtic this season. Why should I bother, you know? Why should any fan bother going to any of the games? Because it's a complete dereliction of duty by everyone. The board, the manager, you know, the fans, the players. The biggest problem's the boards. We know that, you know. People say this is because of what's going on off the pitch. Not true. You know, that shouldn't affect the players. You know, Hatar, players like that. They've been here so many years now. They've got to realise that, you know, fans are doing this in their best interest. You know, they're doing it for the club. You know, the board are ruining the club every single year. It's not against them, but even so, you know, players are just not good enough. And yeah, that's my opinion. Dundee win 2-0 against Celtic today. Celtic's first defeat of the league campaign. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And yeah, I'll do a reaction to the Hearts game next Sunday. I won't watch it, but I'll keep my eye on it throughout the day. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.